Yo, what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Never surrender, folks. That is what we're here to do, to expose the pretenders. We want to make sure we don't fall into the usual traps. History repeating itself, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Visualizing, actualizing the freedom that we want for all humankind. And those of us here in the once great republic, the United States of America, now the United Socialist States of America. Strong medicine, strong language, I know. Some of this, if it bothers you, you don't like the point of references that we use, you don't like the terms that we use, you better check yourself. If your hair is standing up in the back of your neck now, your fists are balling up, you want to punch somebody because we said a word you don't like, it's a pretty good example that you've got controlled belief systems and you are stuck in a box. We're going to show you the way out of that box. No guests on the program today because we've got a lot of work to do. I'm Jack Blood, Deadline Live, AmericanFreedomRadio.com. If you're just tuning in, how did I get here? What is this? Can't figure it out. As I said, the headline on the Drudge today, big picture of Obama, world order. That is what's being discussed at the United Nations in New York as we speak. September 2009. A very dangerous month for freedom. And so we are going to be the check and balances. Should we have the government be the check and balance? Well, I mean, that's how it's written in the Constitution. But something happened along the way. The government, as we know it, the Constitution, was overthrown by a small group of men and women who seek to control every element of your life for their own benefit. So we, the people, have to realize that we're the government, we're the power, and we are the check and balances. And most importantly, the fourth estate, that is the media, of which I consider myself a part of. Not part of the bad part, but we do the best we can. Here's what's boiling my blood today. Sorry, I don't have the sound effect. Here's what's boiling your blood. That is me, Jack Blood, today. We had talked a little bit about net neutrality, and I am the first one to admit that I'm guilty of falling for what freepress.net and SaveTheInternet.net has put out all these years. If you remember, if you listened to this show long enough, going back a network or two, we had befriended the freepress.net people and had worked with them to check and balance the ISP telecom companies who were looking to control the bandwidth, to charge you extra, to price you out of the internets. And that was allegedly the problem. Well, we know we have a problem, and then all of a sudden we see a massive reaction, which we did here underground. There's got to be a solution. And the first thing we check when we start seeing what the solution is, are the very people that came up with the solution the ones that caused the problem and stemmed the reaction. This, again, if you haven't listened to this show a lot, and I hate to repeat myself, but it's important to understand the work of Illuminati philosopher George Hegel. Now, some will tell you, I'm going to get to this in a minute, that there is no such thing as the Illuminati, but that there is actually the same infrastructure, the same diabolical institutions founded in concert with, governments, elite families, who are able to kind of work their way past the freedoms guaranteed by the United States Constitution, a Bill of Rights, to the American people. So this is a faction that does exist, and the fact that we know some of their names, but not all of their names, shows just how devious this group can be. Now, I'm not going to be giving you a dissertation on the Illuminati, not today anyway, because I just read a 700-page book on it. No, I do want to talk about net neutrality. And what was alarming to me, and we have talked about it in the show since I admitted, now I fell for it, and then I reversed my position. Because I began thinking, freedom is the answer, what's the question? Just apply that to anything. And I began thinking, what is really going on here? What am I really being told here? Getting past the knee-jerk reactions that, well, we need to do something. Something must be done. There's a problem. We must do something. We must stop the telecom companies. Well, I mean, how do you do that effectively? Because the answer to this question isn't freedom as far as net neutrality is concerned. The answer is government intrusion, government legislation, and more rules and regulations. Now, I've always been one to tell you I'm willing to take my chances. If the telecom companies, if the ISPs out there aren't giving me the righteous customer service that I need in order to escalate my opinions, to be a part of the opinion-making process on the Internet, then I'll simply go somewhere else. And if there isn't anywhere else to go, then I might have to myself start my own ISP. Because that is going to be the freedom answer to the problem. So I was disturbed today when a major freedom activist, who I consider as much of a friend as a friend of liberty, a friend of freedom, wrote me something praising the FCC, suggesting we call the FCC to thank them for going with net neutrality. That this is somehow going to give us more privacy on the Internet. This is somehow going to say, when has the government ever come to save us from the corporations? Name one time. Well, you know, Teddy Roosevelt was a trust buster. What would Teddy Roosevelt have said to something that was completely preposterous? Phooey? Bull hockey? What are the terms they used there at the turn of the century? And I went out to the monument for the presidents in South Dakota, and I saw his face up there. It churned my stomach, especially after reading as much as I've read about things like the Federal Reserve and bank runs. It was a bait and switch. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was a three-card Monte scheme. And whatever happened with that, oh, well, the trust simply just faded away. The monopolies, the cartel capitalism just disappeared forever. No, it got stronger than ever. I ask again the question, my friends, when has the government ever come to save us from the corporations? Because that's exactly what they're promising to do here. The government will protect us. The government will save us from the telecom companies. The government will save us from the insurance companies. This is the new tack being taken on Obama health perestroika, turning us against the evil insurance companies.